Hey there folks, today we're talking about Napoleon Bonaparte, the short stack from Corsica who crowned himself Emperor of France and tried to take over Europe. I'm gonna tell you his story with my trademark quirky characterization and simplified but smart analysis. Let's dive into the wild ride that was this tiny tyrant's life. Act 1. Little Napo rises up. Our story begins on the island of Corsica where Napoleon was born in 1769. Now Corsica was owned by the French, but didn't consider itself French at the time. As a boy, little Napo was bullied for being a foreign outsider and decided to overcompensate by being a great homework machine. After geeking out on books about philosophy and military strategy, teenage Napoleon went off to French military school. But those snooty French students mocked his thick Corsican accent so much that Napoleon was determined to prove himself. After graduating as a lowly lieutenant, Napoleon got himself stationed in France as the 1780s rolled round. And France was not in a good place. Broke, hungry, cranky, revolution was brewing baby. When the French Revolution kicked off in 1789, Napoleon saw an opportunity to rise up and switch to supporting the revolutionaries. He helped the new republic defeat angry counter-revolutionary mobs and invading foreign armies. For his bold tactics, Napoleon was promoted fast, became a star general and Parisian megababe. By 1795, post-revolution France was a chaotic mess with riots in the streets. The struggling Directory government saw only one option to fix things: handsome young General Napoleon Bonaparte. They offered to make him dictator twice, but Napo played hard to get, saying he could never betray the republic. Yeah, he was totally just waiting for the right moment. Act 2. Napoleon takes charge. In 1799, Napoleon decided France had waited long enough for his savior. He staged a coup and made himself first consul, insisting the people needed him. Then Napoleon held a totally legitimate referendum where 99% voted for him to become emperor. What can I say? Folks loved their liberating little conqueror. Emperor Napoleon moved into Versailles Palace and started reforming. He understood law codes, education focused on careers like science and engineering, and a sound financial system were key to strengthening France. But don't be fooled. While Napoleon modernized the country in many ways, he was also a big jerk. He censored all criticism, jailed dissidents, and made himself dictator for life. Now it was time for the fun part: invading neighboring countries to spread revolutionary ideals whether they liked it or not. Napoleon assembled his massive grand army and started rampaging across Europe. With bold tactics and maneuvering, he crushed enemy forces like at Austerlitz in 1805. What a legend. Act 3. Russia and Waterloo. For over a decade, Napoleon kept defeating European coalitions to expand his empire and blockade ports from British trade. By 1810, Napoleon ruled most of the continent directly or as satellite states. But Tsar Alexander of Russia still refused to play along. So Napoleon gathered the largest invading force ever to teach Russia a lesson. In 1812, his Grande army of 680,000 French and allies marched into Russia expecting easy pickings. But those pesky Russians kept retreating further inland, burning crops and villages along the way. Without food or shelter, Napoleon's exhausted army finally reached Moscow, only for the Russians to still reject surrender terms. With the Russian winter fast approaching, Napoleon realized he'd made a terrible mistake trying to invade such a massive country. His demoralized army suffered continual casualties as it retreated from Russia entirely decimated. Of the original 680,000 soldiers, fewer than 100,000 starving frozen Frenchmen stumbled home. This marked the turning point against Napoleon's ambitions. Prussia and other enemies smelled blood in the water and switched to oppose Napoleon, who desperately called up more troops. But his outnumbered forces took big losses. After his defeat at Leipzig in 1813, Napoleon was forced to give up power and got exiled by the British to the small Italian island of Elba. But his ambition could not be contained. Napoleon dramatically escaped Elba in 1815, returning to power in France for 100 days. However, his comeback was ruined when those dang British and Prussian armies teamed up to defeat him for good at Waterloo, exiling Napoleon again halfway across the world to St. Helena. And his dreams of a French empire died forever. Conclusion: the legacy of Napoleon. On St. Helena, Napoleon wrote his memoirs before dying, likely from cancer, in 1821. What a rollercoaster life. Napoleon revolutionized warfare with his strategies and reforms. He spread French ideals widely and opened careers to talent. Yet he also betrayed revolution ideals as a dictator who caused millions of deaths. His ambition was incredible, but massively undermined by ego. Love him or hate him. Napoleon's legacy is huge, so that's Napoleon Bonaparte's story. Was Napoleon a visionary leader or just overcompensating? Did he advance society or set progress back? And most importantly, what's with the funny hat? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching this episode on the rise and fall of Bonaparte. Don't forget to like, subscribe and all that jazz. See you next time.